Canva Create. I'm so excited to be here with you today. Today we're going to explore how we reshape brands to reflect their true self, to reflection of who they are. So why? So the brand can show up authentically across the entire experience. So that's things like print and out of home and packaging and retail and radio and many, many more touch points. So first, let me tell you a little bit more about JKR. So if you're not familiar with who we are, we're an agency in 3 locations, London, New York, and Shanghai, and we do branding, and we make work like this. Go! Thank you. We have a simple philosophy at JKR. It's all about being yourself because everyone else is taken. Now, this is borrowed and coined from the famous Oscar Wilde, and albeit that it might sound a little bit cheesy, and a lot of the greatest people of our times have owned a very similar idea. So whether you think about Maya Angelou, that has the spirit of like rejecting normalcy, or you've got Lady Gaga with her sort of authenticity and swagger of staying true to who she is, and Yoko Ono, who started with the power and the possibility that you can be yourself and you could change the world whilst doing that. We ask every employee at JKR to be themselves, but we not only ask them to do that, we also ask that of our clients. Sorry, it's very windy in my hair. And we really want our clients to be able to do that because really what they're fighting against is everything kind of looking the same. So if you're truly who you are, you will show up uniquely the way you should do. And this is a symptom of culture. As we know, like everything is getting faster and faster to market, the rise of direct-to-consumer, the proliferation of media channels. So what started out in tech with very kind of stripped-down, intuitive imagery, giants like Apple and Google having kind of influenced the eBays, the Facebooks, Pinterest, and Spotify, and many more, kind of went on to the kind of lead a term called blanding, which was coined back in 2018, and a big shout out to Ben Schott, because I've borrowed quite a few of his images. But really, he really talked about a new army of clones, whereas a uniform of brand camouflage. And it spread to fashion. I mean, this is kind of like some kind of like virus that has gone on to kind of strip amazing, incredible brands of their kind of personality and what makes them unique. It spread to interiors. I mean, can you think about every single coffee shop or hairdresser that pretty much looks the same? And then when you start to think about products and like toothbrushes and what has happened in those kind of product categories, all the way through to things like photography and many, many more categories and touch points that have been affected by this. And, you know, when you kind of look at this, this is like yawn. I mean, honestly, the comfort and safety of the familiar that outweigh the risk of attracting too much attention. Why would we want to attract attention? Why would we want to sell what we need to sell? Brands are like teenagers. They dress the same, talk the same, and act the same. This year, it's forecasted that you're going to spend $4.7 trillion will be invested in marketing. Oh my God, that's kind of like mind-blowing. So with that amount of onslaught of creative kind of media going out into the world, the noise that we're all receiving, how are brands going to be able to break through? They need to be distinctive. And distinctive is like, obviously sounds like a big word, but distinctive in terms of being able to stand out. You're kind of invigorating an existing brand, or you're rebranding, or you're creating a new brand from scratch. You need to be able to create things that be able to stand out from everything else. But there's an awful lot of design that is just creating noise. It's so much so, when we created a report in collaboration with Ipsos, we found that 15% of brand assets are distinctive. So that's an awful lot of noise and things that we're making and creating that aren't really resonating with the consumers. So how do you achieve distinctiveness and not add to that visual noise? Brands are like humans. They're not actually humans, which is, Debbie made that point earlier. They have their true and unique DNA or essence, made up of their assets like logos and colors and type and photography and other types of imagery. But, you know, in order for them to be kind of credible and relevant across the entire consumer experience. So, how do you do this? You need an idea at the heart of what you're doing. An idea that opens up new opportunities. It's unique to the brand and only that brand. I think, is it sticky and memorable? I always talk to the team and go, can I remember it? Can I be inspired? Can I think of anything that I can make and create with it? Does it inspire all types of creativity, visual, verbal, visceral? And new possibilities, new dimensions. Where can this idea take you and that brand so that you can unlock potential? So the idea of having a brand idea that sits at the heart of a lot of kind of visual identity assets and verbal and how it moves and how it sounds, and then the experience on the right, how it shows up throughout kind of the full experience of where that brand will show up. So for example, when you think about Burger King, the idea behind Burger King was craveability. It needed to be as craveable as the food. So every single asset in the identity system meant that it was kind of mouth-watering and juicy and delicious and craveable. The type, the colors, the illustration. And when we translated that to the experience and how it started to show up, every touch point we needed to double down on that idea. For Paramount, it was about reaching new heights, from the color palettes that captured the cross-section of the iconic mountain and sky to the design and motion system always moving up, bringing a whole new vibrancy and energy to everything we do, from single pieces of content to many pieces at the same time without favoring one over the other. Budweiser already had a distinctive set of assets, very iconic, existed and continually crafted over time. But it needed an idea to reignite the brand in one of the world's biggest markets in China. So the idea of turning one of the most distinctive assets, the bow tie, into this amp and activating it in ways that had never been used before. A kit of parts made it grow and flex with the ever-evolving passion points. Bud comes to life from kind of music to fashion and style. And then Uber's business changed. It changed in the pandemic. You remember, we used to just get Ubers to go on a ride. Now we get things delivered to us. And the idea that we can get anything delivered to us, so we could go anywhere and get anything with Uber. But similarly, like Budweiser, they already had a set of assets. They'd been through a rebrand not long before, but the brand identity system wasn't being able to kind of communicate all the new things that they were able to do. So we took something that already existed in the heart of the app, the circle, the line, and the square, and we reimagined a whole identity system to work across a whole new brand architecture for a business that was expanding way beyond mobility. So the experience told stories, whether it was for onboarding drivers, to delivery, to getting a ride. Mozilla, the idea behind that was to reclaim the internet for everyone. A new identity that was born with a kind of flag symbol, which has secretly got the kind of dino, and the new mascot that was created. But that wasn't really enough just to create a set of assets, because again, I'm going to tell you, it's both those sides of the wheel. Mozilla needed an identity system that could work from grassroots to government, that ensures that the brand resonated with the breadth of audiences, from builders to advocates, to change makers, to activists. And the ultimate goal is not to create this visual noise, but be distinctive everywhere. Everywhere the brand shows up, in order to increase efficiency and effectiveness of the work that we're creating. So, how do you do this for the biggest brand in the world? A brand that was born in the town square in Bentonville, Arkansas in 1962. To becoming one of the world's largest brands in the world, or companies, sorry, 60 years later. Walmart's mission has never wavered. To save money and to save money, I should know that off, it's like tattooed on me at the bottom. To save money and live better and help everyone live a better life. Like they did 60 years ago, they still put people and customers first with a relentless focus on innovation. And they had a new positioning, a people-led, tech-powered, omni-channel retailer dedicated to helping people save money and live better. But the brand was at a crossroads. With clarity on what makes them unique, we needed to take a fresh look at Walmart's brand identity that was done back in 2008 and consider if it was delivering against the new positioning as powerfully as it could be. Because the brand needed to stretch. If it's going to continue to sort of grow and deliver on its mission, it needed to stretch beyond grocery into newer categories like fashion and home. And it can work for an ever-expanding kind of suite of services, solutions, and platforms outside of the core retail. That was another important thing. When Walmart rebranded back in 2008, these didn't exist. All these B2B brands, as they're going into health and wellness and financial services, it didn't exist. It couldn't handle that brand architecture as it's kind of grown into many other areas. But as we embarked on this, we always knew it should reflect who Walmart is and its rich history and its DNA. But it also needed to work to be that omni-channel retailer that they have become as they start to move not just as bricks and mortar, but be much more at the touch of your fingertips wherever you are. So it needed to come to life across the experience that was inconsistent. So this is like, as the brand had grown and gone more into B2B and many other categories, this is how it was starting to show up. In order to truly change that perception, we needed to address the entire brand. So how do you do that? By first understanding things like the business context, the brand experience journey, brand identity audits, a heritage deep dive. This is my favorite bit. I spent a lot of time in this archivals and going to the Walmart Museum in Bentonville so that you really learn deeply about where they have come from whilst you're meeting everyone and hearing the ambitions of where they need to go. We wanted to get the understanding of what the kind of consumer sentiment is, and we did brand audits and competitive landscapes and macro cultural kind of context of what's going on in the world and affecting kind of Walmart's business, which landed us in a strategic territory where Walmart needed to embrace their humanity, their agility, and their giant scale of what makes Walmart an ally, a partner to their consumers. Because the brand idea for always in always is an unwavering kind of commitment to be there for you in everything. The first day of school, to your first job, to the picnic, to your holiday celebrations, and in all ways, at the touch of your fingertips, to having a drone deliver your groceries on your front porch or yard or something. Our brand principles that inform how the brand behaves, these are really, really useful tools that we use to kind of measure and stress test all of the work against. So the first one being grassroots. Walmart never forgets its humble beginnings. It's relatable, down to earth, and part of the community. Agility. It's its X factor. Walmart is constantly improving, endlessly testing, and always adapting. That's our innovation side. And pioneering. Since the beginning, they've blazed a path and never settled, because that's what it takes to make life better and easier. All of the brand principles were almost Sam Walton's sort of personality and essence. It comes back to that sort of idea of what he stands for and the DNA of Sam. So that led us to a unified brand strategy and architecture across the entirety of Walmart's enterprise brand platform. And it culminated in kind of a digital first identity inspired by Walmart's rich history, a bold, exciting future that lies ahead. So the Spark, which we all know, and we tested, and it was like every single person knows what that symbol is. We wanted to make sure it was bold at every scale, a source of energy, wanting to build more meaning into it, to guide their customers through the world of Walmart. So everything kind of, we did redraw it and refined it, but we wanted to make sure it wasn't just a symbol that was on the outside of the stores. It's a thumb-stopping kind of portal to a world of possibilities. So the idea of how it moves and comes to life in an intuitive, digital-first way. We thought about how it kind of translates, whether it's typographic or whether it kind of can turn into products, or it can kind of come to life photographically. So many different ways that the Spark can then inspire sort of the energy and the storytelling of the brand. And it's a dynamic mark that is made and loved and worn by the customers. And this is when we started to prototype, could everybody create their own Sparks? And actually, we've just launched this in the Walmart Museum, and we're piloting it right now as a Spark generator to see how people can make and create their different versions of the Spark. So you can project, they can print out the Spark stickers, people are putting them on totes, and then very soon these will kind of translate to gift cards. The word mark inspired by Sam Walton's classic trucker hat, if anyone has ever seen the Made in America front cover book that he's on. We reimagined the word mark, inspired by kind of antique olive at the core, and kept all the character, but made it much more modern. From stores to delivery to shopping bags. And we brought this to life with a modern kind of customized font that feels like more like a full system building off that word mark, which had so much character. We found some of these bits in the archives and the heritage with high X heights, teardrop kind of counters and oblong circles. I can get very geeky about all of these things across multiple different weights, 5 weights, and refined it for accessibility to make sure it would work across every single touch that they did, but also being able to invite everyone in. People-led, tech-powered. People will never go away from Walmart. They will always be the people that serve you, deliver your food, coming to you no matter where you are. Like thinking about how they're coming to you will be how kind of the fleet and the full system and suite will transform over time, to vans, to drones, to bringing you what you want when you want it. Our illustration style and context was to kind of invite customers into our stores in a much more kind of warmer way. As they've been modernizing, they were feeling a bit sterile and cold. So we wanted to work with many illustrators from across the world to add a slice of humanity and warmth to the experience that felt kind of sterile, or on other stores, depending on where you live, and maybe a little bit chaotic, but they're on their journey to evolve. So depending on where you live, these are what you would kind of start to feel as you enter. And some of the initial stores around Bentonville have already started to roll out. So from pharmacy to the meat aisle and other areas of the store too. We created a bespoke set of icons that has this kind of seamless experience from physical to digital. So we needed ones that had like some of the personality that would help you with the wayfinding around the store, that had that kind of character, to a tiered system for digital that could work from UI to more kind of storied. So throughout the kind of digital experience, there's multiple different levels. And Smiley is back, which is exciting. A badge of brand love that has been in the history of Walmart since the beginning. It's going to, in partnership with Animade, who helped us develop kind of a character set that you're going to start to see come to life in motion and a lot more soon. The design system is a brand OS design system, so we really wanted to make sure it felt digital and intuitive, pinching, swiping, scrolling, showing you infinite possibilities. It was inspired by Walmart's original circulars, so going right back to the beginning, we always wanted something that kind of connected it, but felt very digital and intuitive for the future. So this kind of tiled system that has carried through the kind of the website experience and out of home, social, and things like digital banners. A bold new look that associates can be proud of. One of the things we found, not only when we went and did all the store visits, but in the archives, so many pins and patches and all of this flair that the associates have loved and worn over the years. So we reimagined those to make them much more kind of modern, much more contextually relevant. We brought back a lot of the Smiley ones, and associates like wear and cover them on their vests. So this is a thing where you think about, don't remove things that make the culture so special, just add more layers to it for the future. And to the swag, they have this incredible Spark store on their new campus, so they're always making really kind of cool swag for all the employees, and then stickers that employees love in digital, which culminated in giving us a kit of parts. So that was that one side of the circle to use across the full experience as it starts to come to life from store to digital and so much more. It looks so easy to kind of create that journey and show you all of the assets and then show you how it comes to life. But even the sell-in process, like in partnership with our clients, we had to create walk-in sell-in experiences that we could take all the leaders through at Walmart. And this is just a little taster of it because it was very special. We made lots of prototypes, lots of digital kind of prototypes to show how this translated, films and motion, and all the kind of swag and pieces. The team celebrated when we landed the plane, and the Walmart CMO, William White, wore his hat with pride, and David Hartman, the VP of Creative, hit full deployment mode almost the next day and went off to make sure we matched the right shade of blue for the stores. And it was not as easy as it looked. Quite a few of us spent a long time looking for the right paint shade. And as much as things like guidelines can seem really boring and seem dull, at this kind of scale, they're more important than ever in delivering coherence across global markets and touch points. But they can't just be sitting in a PDF as a set of printed guidelines. How do you make a tool that can come to life, that can breathe, that you can add to and expand over time as the system is developed over the coming years? Walmart just opened and reimagined the Walmart Museum in Bentonville Town Square. It celebrates every era of Walmart, but also has a floor dedicated to the innovation and advancements that they are making for the future. So they're always showing up. And then in all ways, the brand is going to be more dynamic and flexible as it grows into those B2B offerings, health and wellness and financial services for its customers. And then you might have heard about a little thing called a launch that happened late in January, where the rebrand started to roll out, and a lot of people, it started to cause quite a lot of stuff.
When it came to the daunting task of redesigning one of America's most well-known brands, we knew we had to do something special to impress the world's toughest design judges. No, not you. Or them. Or even you.
Me?
Not even you, legend. It's these folks. Real Americans.
Attention, Walmart shoppers.
Walmart just rebranded.
Walmart is making waves after changing its logo for the first time in 20 years.
And the internet is mad.
They claim this is a rebrand.
Look at my totally different brand.
Well, it's certainly bold.
What a waste of money.
The brand has always been known for its low prices and great value. But over the years, the design, it had grown, evolved, and let's be real, become a little all over the place. The challenge? Change it enough to be fit for the future, but without messing up what made it great in the first place. So we went back to the roots to figure out what made them so successful. Inspired by the past, but not stuck in it. Then we modernized it. And built an entire system that works everywhere. From aisles to apps. Confident, unified, iconic. One that was built to last. People-led, tech-powered. Because truly, award-winning design isn't made for a few creative leaders. No, it's designed for the toughest judges on planet Earth. And if you can impress them, then you've already won. Not bad for a bolded logo, huh?
You have to have a little bit of fun with that. So from our everyday American customers that judged just the early signs of Control Shift B to media coverage all over the world, it got lots and lots of eyeballs. The competitors got in on the joke, and even Walmart had some fun with it. They responded to almost every message with a wink. And I love that, yeah, she's like the girl that came back to school after the summer makeover. But beyond the online jokes and gimmicks, business journals started to understand the shift of what they were doing. But the rebrand did raise interesting questions about how rebrands should approach a refresh strategy. You only have to remember what happened at the end of 2024 with Jaguar's rebrand that perhaps went too far. So like people are saying not far enough or too far. Where do we go from here? But it was put to the test. System One, a research group, put all of the Walmart's new brand identity into testing. And the verdict was undeniably clear. The new logo redesign, brand identity, and store look strongly appealed to customers, outperforming the old look and feel. And it started to change consumers' emotional connection and perception to the Walmart brand for the better. So what did we learn along the way? We learned look back to look forward. Be true to who you are. Find that essence of the brand for always in all ways. Discover what makes it unique. Speak to stakeholders, internal employees, and consumers. Figure out what is distinctive, what is iconic today. It is reckless to throw away some of the things that might have equity and are memorable already. Build on top of those. You saw that with Budweiser and Uber. We didn't need to throw a lot of everything away and reimagine it. Bring people on the journey. Don't wait for big ta-da moments. Find interesting ways to share, like those building those kind of exhibitions and experiences we did for Walmart. And know that everything matters. Deployment and rolling out of a brand identity can't be underestimated. It's keeping the high level of craft and consistency. It's really, really hard to do. Thank you.